Hello, viewers, and welcome to a new episode of PTG Conversations, 5 Questions video series. With us today is Datuk Tan Kok Liang, President of the Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents. Throughout his 3-decade-long career in the tourism industry, Datuk Tan has been very supportive of the Malaysian government's initiative to conserve and preserve the wildlife and natural resources which are the main draws for nature-loving tourists. Datuk Tan has been vocal on issues affecting the environment and has always encouraged MATA members to embark on sustainable tourism programs, including rural tourism and increasing sustainable tourism activities. He has mooted ideas such as commercializing agro-tourism and eco-tourism products and increasing tourism activities at ecological and culturally rich destinations in Malaysia. Datuk Tan, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Puanis. Good
Yes,
morning.
Datuk Tan. Datuk Tan, I have 5 questions for you. My first question, once Malaysia's borders reopen, do you foresee that more inbound tourists will pivot to meaningful, soul-enriching holidays that benefit the local communities at the same time?
Puanis, the formation of travel bubbles between green zone destinations is of course ongoing, and as we all aware, the RMCO, the Restricted Movement Control Order in Malaysia, has been extended to 31st December 2020. Of course, under the new norm in travel post-COVID-19, health and safety protocols, lockdowns, and increase in traveling costs will be part of the norm. So holiday packages need to be redesigned to meet customer expectations, and there cannot be a touch and go. It needs immersion, experience, and enriching the souls. So moving forward, I'm sure that there will be demand for sustainable tourism and meaningful tours packages.
Thank you for this sharing, Datuk Tan. My second question, how can tourism players take advantage of this growing trend?
Tourism players, I believe that we are in a good position to take advantage and to prepare meaningful, memorable holiday packages. Good international marketing networks and the ability to ensure that the local tour operators that we able to engage with the local communities to offer their services and products. So we are in a position to act with our international marketing networking, and also with our interaction with the local community. We are in a position to engage also with the government, the authorities, to improve infrastructure and communication facilities, which are crucial to ensure that the local communities, especially in the rural areas, do benefit from that.
Thank you, Datuk Tan. Our third question, which destinations could be a role model for Malaysia in terms of sustainable tourism that also benefit local communities?
Offhand, I believe that Costa Rica is good. They have a number of what they call it leading eco tourism destinations, and most of it are experiences with the local community. So there's a very good role model that we can follow. The second role model is Kerala, India. I've seen Kerala, India with their native experience in terms of fishing, rubber tapping, cultivation of bamboo, of this bamboo weaving handicraft. So they have a lot of native experience involving local communities. And of course, in the ASEAN countries, we have Cambodia. It's one of the leading example that the tour operators engage with the local communities, especially Cambodia, where they are very rural side, and that's where they can holiday makers can seek very good experience and also engage with the communities there. So these are the three destinations that always come to my mind when they talk about sustainable tourism.
Dato, do you think a reboot of the tourism sector is necessary, where we focus less on mass tourism, which bring in the numbers, but rather on quality tourists with higher yield and have lesser negative impact on the environment?
One is, now we are at a crisis, and maybe your question is ahead of time. Why I say that? Now there's probably a lot of countries and even Malaysia. We have been, because of the closure of borders. We don't see any tourists coming in, and there's massive unemployment in the tourism sector, retrenchment. So I'm of the opinion that when we reboot, let water find its own level. That means we need to promote aggressively, uh, uh, um, knowing there's uncertainty, and the level to reach the level of tourism back to pre-COVID level probably will take another 2 or 3 years. But you are right. Yes, we need to begin to start formulating and providing incentives to attract quality tourists with lesser impacts to the environment. Um, Big cities like Kuala Lumpur, Kota Kinabalu, Georgetown, Melaka, Kuching, perhaps they can lure in. There's capacity to to lure in mass tourism. But certain areas that are sensitive, for example, like the Kota Kinabalu, the mountain climbing, Sipadan, Sukau, perhaps there may be a limitation on the number of people. The carrying capacity can be restricted. Um, Here, Borneo Nature Lodge, which I started about 8 years ago. There's me on the far left, and this lodge we operated to ensure that there's sustainable tourism. Of course, the staffs there are all local. We have solar powered energy for the evening to light up the fans and the rooms. So we have that in place. Um, and we have eco green policies to ensure that the environment is protected. Green policies, for example, in harvesting rainwater, reuse wherever possible, recycle, composting. We have also electric boats. And if you see at the second slide, at the middle, the pedal power. I hope you can see clearly. So during hazy or rainy season, we can encourage the guests to cycle by pedaling all the mechanical bicycles, and by pedaling at 12 revolutions a minute constantly for an hour, we could generate electricity enough for a single chalet per night. Of course, the solar tower is a panel to harvest the energy, and of course we also have tree planting activities at Borneo Nature Lodge, and this is in support of government initiative so that the animals will pass through. There's a green corridor for them safely, and we also purchase seedlings and plant. So these are some of the green policing practices that we are currently doing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Dr. Tan. A picture speaks 1,000 words, and this is something, this visual presentation gives us a better understanding of what you're saying. Dato, high-yield tourists traditionally stay in luxury accommodation and spend on luxury products and services. How do you propose Malaysia goes about attracting this segment to venturing into community-based tourism activities that also benefit local communities?
Thank you, Puanis. I'm sure we are aware that there's no one-size-fits-all concept, and many investors have invested in very high-end accommodation, of course also medium-sized budget products and services. And holiday makers are varied with different expectations, and they are also discerning tourists looking for hidden gems off the beaten tracks, soul searching, looking for experience the unique, and usually this can be found in very rural places, untouched areas, therefore this sort of tourism packages will definitely benefit the local communities. Government policies, of course, looking ahead, Malaysia, government policies, tax incentives, funding on infrastructure, domestic and international promotions are crucial for success. And products, of course, need to be designed so that opportunities for tourists to take part and engage with the local communities. I have one slide that move towards community-based tourism. This is at Kadamayan, Kota Belud. We have whitewater rafting experience, fish spa, home to nature hikings, climbing and of course the package involve climbing Mount Kinabalu, which is not too far off from Kadamayan. There's a slide, the first slide I'm showing you, second slide. Of course, you can see the pictures. Puanis is just beautiful. It's about 1.5 hours away from Kota Kinabalu city. Look at the water, Puanis. It's just clear, and they do it. They preserve fish. They call it the tagaw system. The tagaw system, collecting the fish, and then after a year they'll harvest it. Bamboo rafting. So that's where you engage with the local community. It's a package by itself that the tour operators are selling. Of course, hiking. Look at that. It's just fantastic. Puanis, you must come here one day.
Definitely, I think.
Okay, look at the fish. This is the tagaw system where with the community. Initially, it started with the fishing department for the sole intention of fish conservation. And tagaw means prohibited, no fishing. And such initiative have slowly become tourist attractions for towards nature and educational tourism. So these are products by itself, and also it's now getting popular for domestic and international tourists. The name of fish here is Palian or Kela in Bahasa Malaysia, and is in the family of the species of the Empurau species. So these are some of the community-based tourism projects that the government is moving towards.
Well, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for your time. Viewers, if there are topics you'd like us to tackle, please tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you, Datuk Tan.